So, Robert, welcome to my home and to the Fireside Chat.
Thank you so much for having me, Dennis.
It's a delight. So, I'm going to tell you something. I am not even sure my wife knows this, but I think this will touch you. And it may make me a tiny bit angry at my mother because I think she threw this out along with my baseball card collection because mothers like clean rooms, you know. I actually have a letter. I had a letter from your father. When I was a freshman or sophomore in college, my hobby was shortwave radio listening. And I got mail from Radio Peking. It was not yet Beijing. And it had been opened by the post office. And I wrote him saying, in America, they let you get your mail unopened. And your father sent me a personal letter back. I told him I was a college student, and that letter is gone. Imagine if I could have showed you that letter now. And I just thought it would be sweet to tell you of that one interaction that I had with him.
And do you remember what he said?
Oh, he totally agreed with me. He thought it was clear. I think it was clear. He signed it. It was not a pro forma letter. Thank you for writing, Senator Kennedy. It was. I lived in New York, obviously. He was my senator. Oh, I think that he was disturbed by that fact.
Yeah. Well, I know. When I'm sure you remember this, that when we were back in those days, really in the 60s, 70s, and I believe in the 80s, it had on our passports that we weren't allowed to visit certain countries,
right,
like Cuba, China,
North Korea,
right, etc. And my father was very much disturbed by that. And he thought, why can't Americans visit any country they want?
Right.
And he didn't like any kind of intrusion on our rights. He said, other people can tell us not to visit there.
Right.
Why is our government telling us where we can go?
That's how I felt. I hated the communist government in China. I hated communism from almost when I could breathe freely or certainly speak, but I should be able to get mail from there. That would have been your father's position. He was no fan of communism. Right. He was a fan of freedom.
He also thought we should be able to hear whatever the communists wanted us to hear.
Yes, exactly.
Because that our system ought to be able to triumph in the marketplace of ideas. And if we couldn't win the argument in the marketplace of ideas, then,
the travel bans will be useless.
Yeah.
Just want to remind you at this point that the rest of this remarkable dialogue will be at PragerU.com. And the reason, and I actually am happy that Robert Kennedy Jr. can hear this, the reason we send people to directly to PragerU is because we fear that Google or YouTube may just take us down one day. It's tragic that I have to do this, but I do this every week. So I just want to remind you, go to PragerU.com, and you might as well start each week the Fireside Chat at PragerU.com and get the PragerU app. It's the easiest way to access us. Thanks.